YouTubers, you ever have somebody you really just don't like that you wish you could just find some way to get rid of them and make them, you know, just go away? Well, it turns out there's a new thing you can do, uh, this new technique, and if you can walk around somebody while they're turned the other way and get them distracted, and you can put yourself in front of their vehicle and get them to accelerate into you. You can then use that as a justification now, to shoot them 3 times. This is the body footage from the officer out in Minnesota. You can see clearly the driver come this guy comes up and distracts the driver. Her head was turned that way. She then looked at him, but and then tried to drive off, and he used that as a justification to shoot her. You can see, like, he's on the edge of this car. He could have easily just jumped out of the way of this vehicle and gotten out of her way, and he chose to shoot her 3 times and, kill her instead, this mother out in, and this has got a lot of people arguing forth. We've got law enforcement agencies all over the country, law enforcement officers, coming out to in droves to defend this guy and explain how this was totally justified. Um, I'm a cop. I'm a law enforcement firearms instructor here, and all these people are coming out of the woodwork to say they're absolutely justified. You know, uh, career law enforcement officer here, the use of force continuum, the police standard in the US makes it quite clear this was a 100% justified shooting. Um, and I just want to point out, I'm taking screenshots and I'm, documenting all of these and the ones here on the video too. The police officers out there who are, justifying this and calling this a justified shooting. I want to hear what you guys think though in the comments. Let me know if you think this was justified or not. Why not? Maybe you disagree with me. I'm wrong. Please try to explain this one to me and make it make sense. There's a lot of propaganda videos. I've posted this one in the chat below. These propaganda videos are circulating, which speed up the footage by about 5 times on those frames where she drives into this officer, making it look like she instantaneously sped up and rammed this guy hard. There's the media outlets calling her a domestic terrorist, and all sorts labeling her as a vicious, making her look angry and mean, and all these photos and stuff, and yeah, like these cops who think that there's all these posts about these other cops too, like, these cops who think they're Deadpool or friggin', uh, a Marvel Comics character trying to, jump in this car on like this is a stunt movie, and then they fall or get hurt trying to, pull off these insane moves. I'm pretty sure, like, at least I've talked to a couple guys too that pointed out. One guy showed me that it is actually. Oh yeah, that's. This is funny because this guy points out. Let me find this right here. Sorry, guys. I just want to do this a real quick stream and talk about this. One guy pointed out that it was actually in the protocols for a police officer to put himself in front of the car to block the path. I mean, that's just stupid if you ask me. I mean, you think this person's going to drive off and flee? Why would you place yourself in front of them and walk in front of their car? You know, first they block her in. Then he walks around her entire car, recording the entire vehicle. Wow. There's got to be an interview with her friend there. She was trying to get in the car, and she was the one filming them, and clearly got out when this happened. So, Yeah, I don't know if this part of the training that, you're supposed to put yourself in front of a vehicle and then use that as justification, to shoot them if they try to run you over. I mean, that's a crazy that some guy posted out that that's actually part of the protocols. I was astonished. He had a Google link anyway. I don't know if this is what's taught in all, firearms, safety training and stuff. I don't know. But I think it's just absolutely crazy what's going on right now. Um, it seems pretty obvious in other things. It's pretty obviously that Dan Bongino was sent back to the private sector as a PR tactic. I agree with Jordan Crowder here on X. It's it's pretty simple. His base only wanted one thing. We wanted accountability. That was the reason I voted for Trump. I knew that it would all be exposed and there'd be no hiding it. After a year of more cover up, it would all be exposed. Whereas with Kamala Harris, people would be distracted. There'd be other things going on. I mean, at least it wasn't Trump. But now we get the whole left like in a tear, in a tear, and they're ready to riot right now over this Minnesota thing. This is blowing up in their face, and all the people thinking they're doing a good job by trying to justify what the cop did, including Tim Pool. Um, they're just fanning the flames of this something really, really bad that's been brewing in this nation. And people want accountability, and they want our law enforcement officers to take accountability against, the pedophiles and the criminals in charge of the government, the intelligence sector. They ran a private intelligence network connected to Jeffrey Epstein, which, I pointed out that even got Giuliani. Um, Rudy Giuliani's on Twitter, getting involved in these conversations and commenting on all this. And sorry, I don't know where Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, and he's it's crazy. It's crazy what he's on here, just pure propaganda. But what's even more nuts is that Rudy Giuliani, he submarined the BCCI probe. It was his last stint as the prosecutor in New York. He was worked for the attorney's office on the prosecution team that was going to process and prosecute the BCCI, but he submarined the entire probe, quit, and then went to work for White and Case, which was the law firm that um, defended BCCI in that trial. So it's come clear that this BCCI thing is huge, way huge. It turns out that BCCI account was managed by Bear Stearns in the late 1970s, which is the exact time that Epstein started working there. So his missing years and like where, how did he first get involved and get in and plugged into this huge network of all this stuff is was in the 1970s, late 1976 to 78 and 79 when they had the BCCI account at Bear Stearns. So all the records are apparently destroyed or missing or gone from that whole time, including all the BCCI. So BCCI covered their tracks, the prosecution, and all that stuff. It was linked to this much wider private intelligence network, which is the money machine and the whole machine behind Jeffrey Epstein. And there's so much more in these files with the regards to the intelligence network and community that was behind Jeffrey Epstein. And what else they were behind, and all the people who were involved with that are defending it and being part of the whole um, this will be Trump's legacy. It will be Dan Bongino's legacy. They're going to try to send him back to the private sector to do PR to try to win some of their base back. But you guys, they've already lost it, and he's become just more of a laughing stock, and it's really just shattered the base of behind Donald Trump. His support is draining and not looking like he's going to be able to recover it in the next 3 years before he leaves term. Some are worried that he never will leave term and will try to stage these wars and other encounters to as an excuse to keep himself in power. But one of the things is true is like the people who are, uh, using this as this is a dividing thing. So I don't really, and a lot of people don't care about this stuff. They only care about the UFO stuff, and the UFO stuff is quite crazy. What's going on there as well? I don't know if you guys know about Lou Elizondo or not, but he's been having a massive, massive crash out lately. Um, Lou Elizondo, I was just in a space hosted by Tupacabra and Red Panda Koala, who are doing excellent work on the X front, exposing this disinformation counterintelligence network of spies and operatives that have been infiltrating ufology with disinformation using witting and unwitting assets um, to carry out these goals. The whole King Milk Fart was the guy's name. Um, and UAP Mike, who were involved in all this kind of crazy stuff. And then the fact that some of the people Lou groomed and recruited for this UFO counterintelligence work were satanics, this guy, satanic, um, and and Elizondo, they're really closely, they're friends. There's pictures of them together, and this guy has like just this band called Satanic with really satanic lyrics. And his girlfriend introduced these two girls to this guy who murdered them. Um, Really weird story. It's called the what was the name of the killings? And these guys are participated in doxing a lot of people like Rather Be Squidding and others who are in the UFO movement doing important, disclosure work and research into UFOs. And these people were driven out of ufology. They were these people, yeah, they drove me out too. They really pushed me away and did a lot of messed up stuff to me personally. That's the reason I don't really do much with UFOs anymore, is because they've really just let it be known that we're gonna dominate this field with disinformation and keep Congress and everyone else distracted and busy with just complete nonsense. Well, anyone who tells the truth is going to be completely doxxed, demonized, character assassinated. They'll just sit there and make up stories about you that like say you drink your own piss, and everything that they did to Project Unity after he exposed this on that Joe Rogan episode, Joe Rogan Project Unity. If you guys check that out, Jay Anderson, and he was on the Joe Rogan Experience, talked about this UFO hate group, which was these basically a gang of operatives um, on social media and other platforms, which defended Lou Elizondo and attacked anyone who questioned his authenticity as a disclosure leader and the UAP czar. Um, and It's just nuts what they've done. They've replaced they've and then they got all these people saying nonsense about this. I don't agree with it. I want to see what you guys think about all these people. I mean, Lou Elizondo is a pro-torture component a proponent. He had um, warrants out for his arrest in Europe and other places because of the stuff that he's done. And I mean, he was a CIA baby who grew up. His father was in the Bay of Pigs for the CIA and grew up in New Orleans with the people that were behind the Kennedy assassination and got away with it. Those were essentially his family and his father growing up. So, and these people infiltrated the highest levels of the UFO probe, and they pretty much crashed it. These guys don't know what to believe. They almost don't want to touch the issue. They feel like we tried, and they can't get anywhere with these hearings and whatnot, man. But it's crazy that Lou's being completely exposed for this counterintelligence group. He's saying it doesn't exist and these rumors aren't true, but he literally recruited like Satanists and these people who were tied to these murders and all these really sick, mentally disturbed people. He recruited within ufology. They really profiled everyone in this field, and and got a sense of who they could corrupt and who they could use. And they used all those people to, astroturf this fake narrative, and then they used their bots. They bought bots to go and pump up all these accounts that were pro Elizondo and pro CIA disclosure, and they essentially, created this whole atmosphere with witting and unwitting CIA assets. Like Jeremy Corbell, who is a total fool and posts mostly disinformation stories that he gets from his unnamed sources. He's definitely talking to counterintelligence people that are feeding him this bullshit and giving him this stuff. Like, how else did he get access to U.S. Air Force and Department of Defense like videos and shit, bro? Let's be honest with ourselves. He was given that trash disinformation by somebody, and he won't name who that person was. Because he's either a witting asset or he's not, man. I want to know, like, this guy would never do a debate with me. It's a shame that he has any followers at all, let alone 284,000. That's just insane for someone that posts nonsense disinformation regularly that gets debunked. But he has his own show on TMZ somehow, even though he came out of nowhere in 2008 or whatever and started doing this. Wow. But yeah, he's a disinformation agent. And then we got, Jesse Michaels, who props up Jeremy Corbell and Jaime Maussan and all these other disinformation agents and people, and cut my video interview from 2 hours down to about 10, 15 minutes, cut out all the everything important that I said and tried to reveal, basically deplatforming the truth and only platforming nonsense. He turned down the only thing that he's ever done that I really liked was his Byfeld Brown documentary that he made. And that was sick. And then he offered in the end of it, he offers a $50,000 prize for anyone who could prove that Byfeld Brown effect works in a vacuum. So we got ourselves a damn vacuum tube and vacuum pump, turbo pump and everything. And we tested Byfeld Brown and on Joe Rogan about Byfeld Brown effect in the vacuum. And, he starts talking about, his work with, talking to T.T. Brown's family and everything. And Jamie looks this up online. Oh, this is the first video that shows up under shorts. So Jamie clicks on that and they bring it up on Joe Rogan. And Jesse Michaels, who's ordinarily his superpower is just remembering all these names and dates and, everything. He can remember everyone and all this stuff for memory. But when he sees this video pop up, he suddenly can't remember where that video came from or who might have sent that to him and what that might have meant. But we were basically like, we showed under -6 torr that we still can get propulsion out of this or this effect that works in a vacuum. These experiments are anomalies in physics. They're totally blacklisted from mainstream physics but by the CIA and have been for a number of generations. And these effects can be explained by, like quantized inertia and other theories which get rid of dark matter. Because so they basically this Jason's group that existed back in the early days of the MJ12 and 19 founded in 1960. Well, this was 1960 at MITRE Corporation, and these Jasons this is about the time when physics was derailed or after World War II. So the group, a lot of the people that would go on to whatever came before the Jason group is what would have hid this physics from mainstream. And I believe this was part of the Witten, Ed Witten, because Lewis Witten, his father, worked on all this top secret stuff. 1947, he was working on drones for the U.S. Air Force before anyone knew what a drone was, he was building, remote control airplanes and stuff and researching the technology and getting heavily into it for the US Air Force back in 47. And then in this later, he was recruited into studying gravity and trying to study anti-gravity. And his son then creates this whole dark matter and string theory stuff, and they really set the foundations of it and did a lot of this crazy physics work. But it's basically set up all these false ways of thinking about and mathematical illusionary ways of thinking about physics, which buried the Biefeld-Brown effect and these physics anomalies that science can't explain. So it just would rather reject them and throw them out. And not only science is rejecting this and throwing it out because they can't explain it. You have Jesse Michaels rejecting it and throwing it out because he doesn't want to give up that $50,000 prize or whatever his problem is. He wouldn't even fly his people out or fly himself out to New Jersey to come and test it and look at it himself. We offered to, normally he paid for his own tickets to go to Peru and Mexico to go see these alien Nazca mummies, which he promoted. But it's just insane that this is, we spent a lot of money and time putting this all together and building this. And it works. You can show it working under controlled conditions, so anyone can come in and take a part and check out and look at. And yet, silence. This discovery is just like it's like a whisper in the woods. It's never happened. This never even happened, man. That 50 grand that could have bought all kinds of equipment and media coverage and everything that would have brought. And if he had given us a 50 grand prize and we had and shown this off on his channel, which somehow he's got this massive audience and reach that I couldn't get or haven't been able to acquire in nearly 2 decades of working on this online and posting videos about this stuff. It's pretty depressing, man. It's like Jesse Michaels is offering a 50K reward for exactly what you did. Yeah, he's a fraud. They also cut my freaking interview down and replaced it with Danny Sheen's like ridiculous narrative on Tippett and Oswald that just doesn't make any sense and is just obvious deep state propaganda. I don't know what to believe about that stuff, man. But yeah, this is just nuts what's going on. Ufology is like dead because the people running it, the people with the most, views and the most popularity in this field are covering frauds, dude. Look at this bullshit. This is what he's doing now. The only thing legit is maybe this friggin' if they capture this live alien, this might be real, but it's just so far-fetched and there's no evidence. There's no actionable intelligence there, or evidence in there to really to do anything with. You can't do anything with these stories. They're funny stories. They're crazy and wild and fun to listen to, and they're well produced by a team of people that I could never afford or you know, could never be able to afford to do this kind of level of production. But they got this guy on here who can supposedly talk to this white lady and summon orbs and but he tried to do it for the US the senator or the congressman there and couldn't do it. He won't do it for scientists. He won't, you know, or aerospace intelligence experts. He won't. Why not? People with optics and capabilities to really resolve anything. It's just one grift to the next. And I don't know if I trust this guy because I've heard that he is, an associate of Thiel Capital. He got all his money and his ability to hire a production team and do all this crazy video production in his spare time and make all these really, really nice, well-produced videos. He's gotten that ability because he worked for Thiel Capital. That's no secret. Peter Thiel is not a good guy. He's been referred to as the Antichrist. He set up Palantir, which, took over the CIA's spy and the NSA's spy game, because they could do it better and cheaper with their technology. Um, pretty scary, weird guy, man, to, what his whole idea is for the future of democracy. But they clearly shut down the message and done a lot of damage to our ability to get information out there. So, anyways, guys, that's what's going on right now in UFO land and political land. Let me know what you think about everything we said here in the comments. Or if you have any other information or things you'd like to share, please leave a comment below. But yeah, Lou Elizondo's wants to kill ufology. He's got this whole agenda. This guy's a deep state punk, and I'm glad that him and his hate group are getting exposed because they ruined a lot of people's lives, man. They doxed a lot of people. They befriended people got inside these circuits, and then doxed the shit out of them for intelligence purposes, and ruined a lot of people's lives, and made a lot of good people leave this field. Fuck you for that. And you're a piece of shit. Anyways, have a good, happy new year, happy 2026. And it's I don't know. I don't know what to do, man. I'm just I don't get super chats anymore. But yeah. Have a nice day. That's why I don't do streams.